Hey guys, before the video begins, I just want to soapbox for just a second. A member of my gaming group recently passed away to suicide. I don't want to get into all the details, but he was 15 years old. We haven't seen each other in about a year because of COVID, so none of my group's been able to get together at our local shop and play. But this is definitely bad for the whole group. I mean, that's an understatement of a phrase. We're all reeling from it. There's a couple phone numbers up on screen. One's an 800 number, and one is a number to text, 741-741. If you know anybody that you're concerned of as being at suicide risk, or if you know somebody who might be depressed and needs to talk to somebody, have them call or text that number, please. You don't want to go through what his family is going through, and you don't want to go through what my group is going through. So please reach out, take care of each other, share the number, and enjoy the video. Welcome to Krylon Entertainment. I'm Sick Chris.
And I'm Sick Bree. And I sound like Roz.
And today we're going to be painting Cyclopsis. We got a big project in front of us here today, and we're going to get right into it. There's a couple things I got scrolling across the screen here, though. First, check us out on Twitter at KrylonEnt. We've also got an email address you can reach out to us on, and hopefully not sending us nasty things via email.
No, please don't.
And that's KrylonEntertainment@gmail.com, and our Instagram, Krylon Entertainment.
That's where you can talk to me.
Yes, I run the Twitter account, and I run the email, and Bree does the Instagram. So don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this video. If you don't like this video, please like and subscribe anyway, and let's get started on Cyclopsis. So as per usual, I painted him with the Krylon 2X Perfect Gray, and Cyclopsis has some unique factors to him. He's got kind of a fade that comes off of his armored plates, so he's not a clean line in his armored plates. He's got kind of like darkness in the seams, and it kind of feathers out from there. So to make this effect, you've seen a couple things on the screen already. One, I grabbed a subway tile. That's called a subway tile with the design. It's an extra tile from one of my job sites, but you can get these at like Home Depot or Lowe's for usually free, a sample tile.
Or you can walk on over to your local Habitat for Humanity, because there's also usually a lot of those out on their floor, and support a small organization that really needs your help.
You can do that as well. But we're using that as a palette today because the porcelain of the tile doesn't allow paint to dry out quite as quickly as some other palette materials, but it also is not overly wet. So you'll see what I did first. I took some Citadel Contrast Medium, and I took some Citadel Contrast Space Wolves Gray, and I mixed it together using my brush as kind of a measuring stick. And I did about 3 parts of Contrast Medium to 4 parts of the Space Wolves Gray. And all we're doing here is we're getting it nice and dark inside the seams, inside these plate divisions you can see. And then you see I'm just kind of feathering it out from there. Right. I'm going to cover over a lot of that as we go. I don't know if we're going to get to talk about a lot of extra topics tonight, because there's a lot that happens really fast on the Cyclopsis mini. So let's see what happens.
Well, you did a lot on this mini.
This mini didn't take that long. This guy only took about 3.5 hours, maybe 4 hours to do total. And that was with doing some filming, which adds time to any paint job. So this really wasn't that bad of a paint. We're not using any techniques that are too difficult. Anybody can do this. We're using our El Cheapo brushes. We're using a subway tile, which are free or next to nothing almost anywhere you go. And we're just doing this technique all over. And you can see from the tile now that we've transitioned, I've had to refill it a couple of times. That's okay. That's expected. I think it took like 4 globs of this paint to do it, and it's not that big of a deal. I'm also kind of feathering it into some of the areas that I'm pretty sure are going to be different colors later. I didn't want to think about that in this process. I said, if there's a plate, let's feather it. Let's just get it done.
Right.
So this is a pretty easy step. It's a little time consuming, but like I said, this mini is pretty easy, guys. I think you're going to like the end results. What do you think, Bree?
I like him. He's big. I think that's one of the things about Cyclopsis is he is daunting because he's large.
He is. He can be intimidating, but he's also simple. So you see we moved to a chisel-headed brush, and I've used some of my Army Painter matte white paint, and I'll put a paint list in the description here. And I put a dab of it on the subway tile, and I'm sticking the brush in, and I'm wiping most of it off on the subway tile. So it's like a dry brush, but not really, because I'm not actually wiping off all the paint, and I'm not using an absorption material to wipe off the paint. I'm wiping it off on a subway tile, so some of that moisture is going to stay.
Absorption material? That's the best way to say paper towel I've ever heard.
It's a technical absorption pad.
It's a paper towel.
But anyway, what I'm doing here is, you see, I'm just taking that chisel-headed brush with a lot of the paint removed from it, and I'm just kind of doing the same kind of feathering motion, except this time I'm starting in the gray areas in the middle of the plates, and I'm working my way toward the feathered gray. And you see I do a lot of up and down motions. There's not a whole lot of side-to-side motion. There is some here and there, but mostly it's up and down motion, and I want it to be uneven.
Right.
I don't want it to look, we're not blending it, because blending is something I'm not getting into on this channel, because we're doing everyman paint jobs.
Yeah,
but
Blending's a thing.
Yeah, we're doing like a hobo blending.
Ooh, hobo blend.
It's like a hobo blending. It kind of creates an effect without actually having to go through the issues of blending it. Like I said, this is rapid fire here, guys. So I mean, this is just go go go. So after we've got those plates done, now it's time to do some of the red on Cyclopsis. And none of the reds I have do justice to the color I want to do on his red trim. So what I did is I took some Abaddon black and I took some Khorne red. And you see I just kind of measured it out there with my brush. I eyeballed it. I really didn't have a set measurement. You see I just mixed it together. I didn't like it either. So I took the Abaddon black again and I added a little more in to get a little bit of darker red until I got it where I want it to be. What I also did here, and you may have seen it, but it just go by pretty quickly, is I just dipped my finger in some clean water and I just put a drop of water right in that paint and then mixed it in. So it's nice and wetted down so it flows easily. Mm-hmm. And then we're just going to apply that everywhere we want on Cyclopsis to be red. Like I said, we're not having a lot of time to talk about other stuff here because this video is going bang, bang, bang.
Bang. But I was going to notice that, please notice that Chris has a nice clean tile behind him. It's not because he grabbed another tile, it's because it is very, very easy to clean off the subway tiles.
It was not easy to clean it off. The contrast paint actually was kind of hard.
Oh, was the contrast? Because I've done this with normal paint. And
it's easy. Yeah, that's what I thought it'd be. I actually used a razor blade, but it came off relatively easy with a razor blade.
Contrast denied you.
So while my red is still wet, I'm jumping to a completely different step here. I'm doing some black, even though we're not on the black step of the mini yet. But there's this gem on his crest, crown, forehead spike, whatever you want to call it.
Poof.
His poof. His pompadour.
Yeah. Ooh. Yes.
Yes, his pompadour. And I apologize for the focus in and out, guys. This model is so big that if it got too close to the camera, it blurred out. But if I held it too far away, I couldn't actually see the small detail I was working on. So what I did is I took that matte white and I painted in that eye above his forehead, just white. And then I'm drawing in a little black pupil there. Mine's kind of messy. You can take however much time you want on this to make it as perfect as you want. But that gem on his little pompadour there, I painted that black because we're going to do a simple gem effect on this miniature as well. And I did that while the red is still wet because I didn't want to lose the red. So you see what I'm doing here. There'll be a close-up in a second. I'm painting about 3/4 of the gem. The lower part of the gem, I'm doing about 3/4 of it with that red. I'm leaving the black at the top. And I kind of did it at the angle that I figured the light would be hitting Cyclopsis. And then we jump right into our Black Templar.
Right.
And this is going to shade all the areas on him that are black. So like these chest weapon ports on his sports bra here, those that open up, those are black in the show. Yeah, I said that on purpose. And then
that's Goldars.
That was some
that's rough.
Golden microphone stuff. This is the War Zord.
The War Zord.
So anyway, he's got kind of underneath his arm flaps there, his 1980s power suit.
I mean,
he's got just pure black. So we did that, the pure black. We did the areas on like the hands or whatnot. If you actually look at a reference photo of Cyclopsis, that whole underarm area below his forearm, that's actually all supposed to be black, but I think it looks cooler as a white plate. So I just did a black accent in kind of that raised area behind it, and I did his hands.
Probably black because when they looked at the original costume, it was black because trying to put a plate under there where he's doing all of his arm movements would have
was probably a nightmare. But yeah. I did the hands black, and I did above that area black, just kind of keep it with it. So then we jump into our Khorne Red, and this is going to be where we're going to highlight all that red we just did. So you see I'm just putting a little bit on our faux palette, and I'm going to add a little bit of water. You see I actually put too much water in. So what I was doing there with the brush, I was actually pulling water out of it with the bristles before I mixed it together. So I just kind of get that nice and wet, kind of a milky consistency. If you look at my brush, this is a sin. I have way too much paint on that brush right now for the mixing. It's horrific.
What are you doing?
But what I'm doing to the gem is I'm doing another little kind of crescent-shaped highlight, leaving the darker red just at the top part there and leaving the black there. So now we're getting brighter towards the bottom, darker towards the top, which is a pretty common gem technique for the way the light hits it.
And I will make sure that on the Insta, I will make sure to take a
close-up
of the gem, just so you guys can kind of see the technique, because it is a really cool
it's so easy. I've been doing it for years. But anyway, we're just highlighting all of the red, and what we're doing is we're leaving that darker red just near the recesses there. Kind of where it meets the plates. And then we're jumping into our Citadel Lead Belcher, and we're going to paint the metal areas. On top of his pompadour there, he's got like a metal unicorn horn.
Like a little...
It's like a gold unicorn horn. We're going to do it with our Ironbreaker. I think I said Lead Belcher a second ago. It was Ironbreaker.
It's Ironbreaker? Okay.
So we're going to do it with our Ironbreaker, and then we're also going to paint the blades with the same color. That's really all the metals that are on this guy.
Yeah, he's apparently they got like a surplus white paint when they decided to paint this one.
Or the foam came that way. He's actually, believe it or not, he's already almost done. We're kind of getting into the fine tuning at this point. So you see what I do to do the blades is the first thing I do is I paint closest to the area I want to keep white because I need to leave a lot of control there. Once that's filled in, I can kind of get a little aggressive with the rest of it because the rest of it is all just a big silver area. It doesn't really matter what happens. So you see I'm nice and careful there. And then when it's time to go down the actual length, I'm just like, yeah, chisel brush, let's go.
Whee!
That was a hiccup. This is good radio today.
I know. Sorry, neither of us can breathe real well right now, so it's great.
So we got our Evil Sunz Scarlet coming next. This is going to be our final red highlight. This is going to get just a little dab in the lower left corner of this gem. And then it's going to highlight kind of like an edge highlight sort of on the red. So on these diamonds up on his shoulders, I'm literally just doing a streak on the raised part. And I'm sure Bree can take a nice close-up photo.
Yes.
You see on these weapon points, I'm only doing a line of it on the top of the weapon ports. On the scabbard, not scabbard, that's not what I'm thinking of. His loincloth there.
Yeah, that's
his little loinclothy area. I'm doing a line of that red just on the edges. I'm just doing it on that raised, sharp edge point.
Nope, not a halberd either.
That's not a halberd. I think it might start with an H, though.
Okay.
Hobark. No.
Nope. It's a thing. It's a loincloth.
It doesn't matter. So down on this part here, I'm just doing little lines.
Fancy boots.
I'm not even going all the way around his fancy boots. I'm just doing kind of like little lines, thin lines in the corner.
Can we just have a moment, though, to talk about how sassy Cyclopsis must be for them heels?
Oh, he's like a murder jester.
He is in all white and heels. He is pimping it.
I mean, better not. That's why he lost. Labor Day hit. Couldn't wear white after Labor Day. But you see on kind of these arm guards, I'm doing it just in the raised area in the middle. On this back piece, just a line down the middle where it's raised, and then just at the top. You can skip this step if you don't want the extra definition, but it's really, really easy. It just takes a little bit of brush control. So it's not a big deal.
He's so pretty.
He's really coming together. We're like I said, we're almost done. This actually goes really, really quickly. So we're going to go back to that matte white, and we only need just the tiniest dab of this, because this is going to finish off our gem effect. It's just going to get a little itty-bitty dot up in the upper right-hand corner. And that's where the reflection's coming in.
I love that because it always looks like an anime eyeball. That's one of the reasons I love your gem.
I'm going to stop doing it.
It's because it looks like an anime eyeball, and I love it.
So we go back to our Abaddon Black. You've seen this. I know we've done 35 videos, and I think like 20 of them are painting videos.
Yeah.
You've seen this 20 plus times if you watched all our videos. And if you've watched all our videos,
thank you.
Get help.
No, you're a good person, and we like you a whole bunch.
You might need one of them $400 an hour therapists.
Wow. Don't.
So anyway, we've watered down our black a lot, and we're just being real sloppy here. It's ugly coverage. It is not good at all.
Because it levels itself out with each layer.
And this one only took 2 layers. This went pretty quick. But yeah, you've seen this strategy a dozen plus times.
And it is, it's going to be multi-layers. You water it down so you get that nice coverage eventually.
Now, I'm going to say this too. These brushes that I'm using, like I said, these are the El Cheapo terrible brushes.
Woot woot.
I'm going to showcase these on a video here shortly. It's not going to be a Morphin Monday video. I'll do just like a random technical video where I'm just going to show these brushes, because I've had several people ask me what brushes I use. And guys, they're garbage.
They're hot garbage.
They are. They're terrible brushes.
And they're cheap.
So anyway, we got our Nazzdreg yellow. You've seen this on the Goldar episode. That gold piece, that gold pompadour, that gold faux hawk, we're just going to paint this over the silver, and it's going to turn a gold for us. We've done this before. There's nothing new to this.
But, again, it's a very handy technique, especially if you're kind of going for that, you don't want, punch you in the throat gold, but it's still a nice gold.
I've actually found I like this better than most actual golds that I have these days.
I would believe that, because I gotta admit, I was never pleased with golds. I always have to wash golds or do something else with them to get them to the tone I want.
Well, you absolutely, and I wash this usually too. I just didn't on this particular miniature because there wasn't a lot of definition on that piece. But we've also, speaking of washing, here's our Nuln Oil. This is just to go on the blades. I thought about doing a fancy lightning bolt design on these or whatnot, and I didn't want to.
But mostly because we were already beginning to be in the throes of whatever plague has hit this household.
Yeah, it's not a bad plague, guys. It's like the common cold. We all got hit by the common, but none of us have had a common cold in 18 months.
So we're all like, oh God, we're going to die.
So it feels a lot worse than it normally does. But, it is what it is. But anyway, we just give a quick wash to this. I mean, you could highlight this further with more silvers. You could put cool designs on it. I didn't bother with any of that. But we're getting into the wrapping up phase. We're going to do the second coat of that black. And then after that, it's just a matter of painting the rim of the base, which you've all seen before as well. We are using kind of that newer strategy that we started using, where we paint it the color of the card.
Great.
So we did the Screamer Pink on this base lip, like we do for all bosses. We didn't, we saved the orange for the monsters, the bright green for the foot soldiers, and the Screamer Pink for our bosses, which Cyclopsis is. He's definitely a boss.
Oh, we've fought Cyclopsis several times in our personal group, and whenever we draw him as the big bad, we're kind of like, all right.
The first time wasn't too bad because we had a big Blade Blaster lined up.
Yeah, we did.
Best card in the game.
Oh, I hate it so much, but it is so useful.
Best card in the game. Anyway, once that dries, you can see Cyclopsis he's done. I mean, he looks really good.
He does.
Very happy with the simple technique. Got our Screamer Pink. We paint the base, and there we have a finished War Zord Cyclopsis. Give him a try. He's easy to paint. Like and subscribe for more content. Hit the bell button for notifications. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week.
Good night, guys.